Garrett from Jeff County Fair, Demolition Derby. Today I'm going to talk to you about safety, procedures that the Derby implements to keep our event as safe as possible. Please keep in mind throughout the presentation, we value all your feedback and ideas you have. Our goal at the end of the night is that everyone had a fun, safe, entertaining evening. Our Derby is held annually in August with over 10,000 seats and a high car count. We are one of Utah's biggest derbies. Feel free to ask questions, stop me as we go. And
Jamie,
yeah?
what city is your derby in?
Oh, Nephi. We're located in
Okay.
Nephi in Jeff County, yeah.
That's right.
Okay, this video will illustrate many of the safety precautions we have put in place in our derby. A few things to pay attention to: the berm, the height and the width, driver and pit crew seating, so they are not by the gates or in the arena, safety lighting, distance between berm and fence. This is a video of our derby last year, and I'm just going to go ahead and watch. We'll go from there. some things. I encourage you all to video your derby. For me, it's a great promotional thing. People love it. But now, I look at it a whole different way. There's lots of things I go back and look at this. And I'll kind of show you at the end. But let's move on.
Jamie,
Yes.
you guys produce your own derby? Like,
Yes.
You take entries and everything
Yes.
yourself?
Yes. Okay. Safety has always been at the forefront of our mind. There were unfortunate events that happened last year that were very close to us in Juab County. One of our community members was fatally injured in an accident in Delta the 4th of July. Since this time, safety has had a laser focus from the way drivers built their car to inspection to one final safety check as drivers pull in the arena. Safety is non-negotiable for us. If we feel the car has not been built safe, we do not let it compete. We address safety on all levels, including driver, spectator, and official safety. Last year was a very hard year for me as a promoter. We live in a very small community, and it was just hard. We had a fatality. He was our friend. He was our committee member. He was a local. It didn't happen at our derby. It happened about a month before. So for me, it was hard. I didn't want to push derby. I didn't know what to do. Our committee, we struggled as a committee because it was a very emotional time for all of us. We met right after. It was hard. We met, we decided, we pulled the fair board in and the commissioners as well. And you know, Robbie loved derby, and so we decided, you question yourself, do we pursue this anymore? What do we do? So we went on with the derby, and it's still sold out. We're a small town. It's hard to know what people think, and we still sold out. We still had a great derby. We learned a ton. We've always implemented safety all the time, but this year, we went back and we looked at everything. We brought our road crew in, our buildings and grounds, and we looked at our berm. We have a good berm, but Sunrock, we had people from the state contacting us saying, we've got ideas, let's not let this happen, and we was taking all these ideas in, and Sunrock called us and said, we'll donate 2 semi-loads with belly dumps of sand. Build your berm as big as you can. Here they came, donated all this sand to us, and we just started going. We changed the size of the berm, just a little bit bigger, a little bit wider on top. We had a horse show that was in our arena that morning of. Our derby is on the very last day of the fair, and we start building it at about 11 o'clock, and the derby starts at 6:40. So we're pushed. We've always made it, but we're pushed. So the fair board decided to move that horse show out into an outside arena. We started the berm, started the dirt work at 7 a.m. We wanted time just to go back and fix if we needed to make sure. Crossed all our T's and dotted all our I's. So, so we did that, and it, we had plenty of time, and it worked. And we're going to, as a fair board, we're going to continue, move the horse show out and start building as soon as possible. We have monthly meetings starting the week after the derby. We feel that it is fresh on our mind. We go through things, you learn something every derby, and you forget. So we have meetings as soon as that next week, as soon as the derby's over, and we start planning for the next year, start looking at our rules and our payouts, and start planning for the next year. We meet with road, crew, and the commissioners as well. Waiver. I'm sure all of you guys probably have this. We make every driver sign a waiver. If they're under 18, their parents have to sign a waiver as well. And yes.
You just mentioned under 18. How young will you let them participate?
They have to have a driver's license.
So 16 to 18.
Yeah, 60, yeah. They have to have valid driver's license. We don't do the youth. And this year we've talked about, we're having all pit crews sign a waiver as well. Yeah, you wonder why I'm wearing a bright orange deer hunter shirt, yeah? We have found this to be something might seem silly to you, but we had a tractor driver actually talk to us after one of our meetings and say, you know what, it'd be nice if the pit crew, people in the drivers had a bright colored shirt on so we can see them in the pit. We're taking cars in and out of there and we need to see them. So I thought, as a promoter, I thought, oh, no one is going to wear this shirt again. Yeah, but I see it all over. So it works. And, if you look back, when we look back into that video again, you'll be able to see my pit crew. When that shows our arena, you'll see them. This is one, we had yellow last year, or the year before. But you can see that pit crew, and you can see where they are in the arena and out. So it helps a ton. Pit lighting and safety, driver and pit crew only. For safety reasons, we have added more signage and lights to our Derby pit area. Derby pits are for the pit crew and drivers only. Pits are enclosed and off limits to spectators. Gates are open on both sides, but remain unlocked in case of an emergency. Local law enforcement patrol the pit area all day and the entire night of the show. Light plants are placed around the pit area for drivers and pit crew to have more light, but also for our equipment operators to have better lighting in the pit area when pulling cars out of the arena and into the pit area. So we added the signs last year. Our pit area has always been enclosed, but we wanted to even add more signage saying, trying to keep our spectators out of there. This other picture shows our inspection line. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, we bring in probably 6 light plants and put them in the pit crew only for the tractor drivers, heavy equipment operators to see. They're pulling cars out. Alcohol. We have a no tolerance for alcohol. I'm sure all of you do. We enforce this. We have our sheriff's office, they patrol it, they walk through it, they go through on 4-wheelers, they're constantly patrolling it all day and all night. And if they're caught, they're done. They're out of there. They're escorted out. So this shows our pit area after it's been impounded. So the Derby cars come and they line up with the driver only. We don't let the pit crew come at that point. They line up in the inspection line. Once they get through and pass, they're impounded, and that kind of shows where they're impounded. And you can see the sheriff there on his 4-wheeler. And then no fast driving. Like we've had some that leave the inspection line and head off to the pit area and causing all kind of ruckus. So anyway, sometimes they're not very happy. But, yeah. So being from a small community, we had some issues with this. When you get an arena with 10,000 seats and you're selling out, growing pains kind of become a pain, So we have 3 exits, but everyone uses that middle exit, and it lines up pretty good to get to our arena. So every year, for the last 3 years, we have discussed the safest functional part of getting our drivers, pit crew, and our committee and inspectors, in, as well as all the spectators. We try and we encourage the drivers to come as early. We try and do drawings, prizes, to get them there as early as possible and get them through and done. But it doesn't always happen, but we try. The local law enforcement and Jeep Patrol park and route the vehicles and foot traffic in and out of our events. We are constant in communication with ways to reroute the traffic to make it less compacted. Our local police department reprograms the traffic lights to help facilitate people following in and out of the fairgrounds. This last year, we've had a problem with foot traffic coming through our pit area. They're wanting to get to a gate to get to their seat that is located more on the west side of that. And they climb over gates, they don't care if you're standing there. So we are looking this year at busing those people around to the other gate because we can't stop them, and they're bringing their children, and cars are going in and out of there. The drivers are lining up, and the backhoes and everything. So we just can't have them in there at all. Day of the Derby. Starts with our inspection. Driver only allowed in inspection line. 2 heat inspectors, 10 car inspectors, 2 head inspectors, I apologize. Safety is first, and they're all impounded after passing.
Question for you.
Yeah.
This is maybe more curiosity than safety, but how do you get your inspectors? Are they county employees or are they volunteers? How are they qualified? How do you
We try and get inspectors that go and inspect other derbies as well. So we have 2, and then the other 10 are generally on our derby committee. So one of our inspectors is actually on our committee this year. So yeah, they have the final say. Those 2 head inspectors, they have the final say. Also, you can't see on this card, this is the only car I had a picture of in the inspection line close up, but after a car passes inspection, it's impounded. A safety sticker is attached to the car on the driver's door, and the wheels are painted. The sticker serves as one last safety measure to let drivers know to not hit the driver's door. Another safety rule is no intentional hitting on the driver's door. By painting the wheels, we can tell if a driver is trying to stop and avoid hitting the door, or if they are still accelerating. It is deemed intentional, the driver is disqualified.
Question,
Yes.
how does painting the wheel help
So,
you turn?
like,
See that
You
line?
can,
See
you
that
can
line?
see the line,
Move.
it'll go around, and if it's, and they can tell if they have their brakes on, it stops.
And the look in their eye.
Berm and arena floor. As I said earlier, the building of the arena starts at 7 a.m. There's constant communication between Derby Committee and County Road Crew regarding the berm and the overall arena safety. And we have constant communication with them all night. This shows our arena before the berm is built. Our berm is 4.5 feet high. On the top, the width of the top is 5 feet and the bottom is 10. The distance between the fence and the berm is 15 feet. The road crew removes all the sand in the arena and works it to the outside edges to create a dirt berm. Additional sand is brought in to create the size and width of the dirt berm. The arena floor is dirt with a little sand on top. The arena is watered all week to keep it moist. The day of the derby, it is watered in the afternoon. The water truck is then parked close to the arena for the night on standby in case it needs to be watered again. Building the berm usually takes about 4 hours. Our committee and county commission feel the dirt berm is one of our top priorities as far as safety goes. Last year, we brought in additional dirt to help facilitate the dirt berm and arena floor. Yes.
Sorry to keep interrupting you,
You're
but
fine.
I go to a lot of demolition derbies, and I've seen dirt berms of all kinds of shapes and sizes. I've seen the cement barriers, I've seen straw bales. We used to use straw bales, now we do a dirt berm as well, and probably pretty similar in size to yours. But why did you choose a dirt berm instead of something else?
We've chose a dirt berm, our county has, because we've looked at cement, and we're just trying to protect the driver a little bit with the cement as well.
It's no good.
But so our road crew has a shirt, well, a shirt is pretty much that they nothing can generally get by that unless they are constantly getting pushed over. So we've always had a dirt berm. We brought in some cement kind of on the sides and didn't see that it helped us anymore. So, yeah, we've always just did the dirt and it's worked.
And also, your arena floor is just massive. Do you know how long the interior of your arena is?
I knew I was going to be asked that, and I should have asked. We have, I think, the second largest arena in the state of Utah, but I can email you that. I'm not sure. I don't even dare guess. It's huge. We have a big arena.
And do you have any rule or what keeps a driver from going from one end, like maybe the last two drivers, and getting as much speed as he can to smash the guy at the other end? Do you have any problems with that?
We don't, and we, this year, like when we go back to the video, I'll show you, we added, our drivers come in on the south side, and then we always fill it with tires after the last one's in, and then we actually made on our north side another, not an entrance, but with tires and stuff, and then there is a steel cement frame right behind that. So if they go through that, they're gonna hit that. But we just use the dirt and it's worked.
Okay.
Jamie,
Yes.
with the dirt, I see that you had a backhoe in there that was moving the dirt. Is that making it a more of a 90-degree to not
Yes.
make it a ramp?
Yes.
And how often do they have to do that?
Every time a car is in the berm, they come and relay that. Okay. Yeah. Also, that berm, we say in our driver's meeting, and it's in our rules as well, and it's probably in yours, that once a car is on the berm, they will be disqualified if they continue to hit it to go over it. We won't let them do that. So we try and pull our berm in. That's why we allow to have so much on the sides too, to control that speed a little bit too. We've only had one, I think in 2010, one car go across the berm and into the fence. No one was hurt, but so we've never had a car go over since then.
Jamie,
Yes.
are you concerned about being the large arena, and ours in Dell is quite large too, of the speed that people
We're
get?
very,
We've
yes.
talked to them this year about trying to even make it a lot smaller.
Yeah, we do that as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because they're hitting so hard, and when you can hit a car hard enough to roll it,
yeah.
you're going to cause injury to the driver one of these days. And that's our concern. Is the next step is
Yes.
what's going to
We
happen to the
bring
driver
it,
when
in
he gets
fact, this
seriously
year
injured.
we brought it in even smaller than in the past.
One thing we did that was most effective was don't slick your arena off, keep it deep, work it. And they can't get near the traction. And they stop a lot easier too.
Yeah, they do.
So
Do you work it? Do you keep it that deep and wet it down?
they
We
don't
try
like
and keep it
They
deep
don't
as
like
sand
it.
as
You
well.
wet it down so it's a little slicker and we
Yeah.
keep it deep and then they don't get the speed up.
Yeah.
Is what they want to or not. We'll even work at the middle of the derby just to make sure. we keep
So
it.
our tractor driver comes in as well. Yeah.
Okay, with that, we're talking about working it and stuff. Do you have a problem with debris coming up in horse events? And,
Yeah, I used to be, you could do it with, a magnet.
yeah, everything's
Yeah.
plastic
But
now.
nowadays, we just clean the gel out and get every inmate we can and spin.
That's what we do.
You know what, we've had a local, like the FFA, we have them come and after the arena's clear, we have them go around in a Ranger or a Razor and they pick up anything. And the last couple of years, I don't know if the drivers are just building better, we've had hardly anything. Like when we were taking that sand back out to put it, like our road crew says they seldom find anything in there. So either drivers are doing better that way or our kids are picking it up better. But we haven't picked up every heat.
Can I ask one more question, kind of
Yeah.
with the group?
Yeah.
Does anyone have or recommend an arena length? That seems to be a question a few of us have had about how long these arenas should be.
I don't know. I don't know what the average even rodeo arena length.
Maybe the better control is the water you put on the dirt instead of the
Yeah.
length.
It's a good
We won't
question.
have any water this year, so that'll be.
No, that's not true. It always rains during the fair.
It does, mine too. The road department is constantly repairing the berm, we just kind of talked about this, and the arena floor for damaged areas all night. When a car or a truck is stuck on the berm and removed, the road crew then comes in and repairs the berm. That just kind of shows our berm, if you can kind of see it. Production meeting. How many of you guys have a production meeting before your derby? I didn't used to, but about 3 years ago, I was introduced to this. And I know you guys are like me, if you're a fair coordinator, you're pulled 150 ways that day. Especially, that's our last day of the fair, our biggest day of the fair. And the last thing I can do is get to a production meeting at 4. But I turn my phone off and I make it, and it's been super productive. We meet at 4 o'clock in just a little room. We have the whole derby committee. We have our sound. We have our announcer. We have our representative from the fire, EMS, sheriff's office. Everybody that is a part of that show comes to this meeting, or a representative. And we go through our whole show. And we have found that it makes it more safe. People know where they need to go, and plus it makes our show better. We even go as far as, when we're singing our national anthem, we have fireworks, and when she sings the rockets red glare, boom, 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 that's when we even prepare her so she's not nervous. Don't get scared from the fireworks or something, but we have found that this just helps things move. Everyone knows, reminded at the last minute where they need to go, where they need to be, and it helps tremendously. If you can break away and do that, I know it's hard, but I'd recommend it. Drivers meeting. We have a drivers meeting at 5 o'clock. Kind of a bad picture. It's the only picture I had of them. Sorry. It's mandatory. The purpose of this meeting is to go over all safety aspects with our drivers. These details include no intentional driver door hits. If a car is stuck on the berm, do not hit them. We do not want them pushed over the berm and into the safety area between the berm and the fence. If you are timed out or your car will not run, break your stick. If a car does not have a stick, do not hit them. If you need emergency help, use your red flag, and we will shut the heat down and send in assistance. Seatbelts and helmets are mandatory and will be checked at the gate. No fast driving in the pit area. Pit crew will not be allowed in the arena after heats. Driver must sit in, drive, and put in pit area by bleachers. This is when they're lining up to come in for their heat. When the safety sequence to stop a heat begins, all drivers stop where they are at. If they continue to move, their car will then be disqualified. So I don't know how many of you have drivers meeting, but we go over all the rules one last time, make sure they know they'll be disqualified. Alcohol is talked about at this meeting as well, so they all know they will be booted out if they do not follow the rules. We have had some that we haven't had problems in the last couple of years, but some hitting drivers' doors in the past, and we've had to disqualify them. Final safety check at the gate. Each car, every heat. This is my girl who sings the national anthem, but you can see 2 derby guys over there, kinda. They're checking every car as they come through that for a helmet, seatbelt, flag, and we make sure they have brakes before they go in, so a car can stop. One final brake check as well. Here's a picture of our sticker that we placed. This was 2 years ago. The stop sign. We put a big once they passed inspection, they got that big stop sign sticker on their driver's door. Just one final way to say, stop, don't hit me, trying to, a visual, trying to not get them to hit the door. This works really well. Showtime. Here's a picture of our judges. You can see they're in the bright colored shirts as well. Each judge is assigned 1 car to time. Each time their driver makes a qualified hit, they restart their time. In addition to timing their hits, they are also watching the driver closely. If they feel the driver is injured or may need assistance, they are communicating that to the announcer, who is stationed right next to them, and he will shut down the heat so we can check the safety of the driver. So in those next box seats just over is the sound and the announcer and me, and they're right there in communication if we need to shut down. your announcer can be a huge key in helping you shut down. You probably do that as well, but our announcer does a great job. During the heats, there is a designated location in the stands for all pit crew to watch. We only did this about 2 years ago. We made them set in a designated area so they could go in and out and we could see them. And you can see their orange shirts. I mean, it's visible. Like if you look out in the arena, you know exactly where the pit crew is and you know where the judges are. Shirts help a lot with that. Safety sticks and flags. Here's a picture of just, I don't know, do all you guys use sticks? Yeah, I'm sure. So they get a safety stick once they pull that and make sure they have a flag in their car. And of course their wheels are painted too. This year, we've always had some lights, but this year we brought in additional lights inside the arena, as well as the emergency crews announcer. Our emergency crews, have their fire trucks, have their ambulances. They can turn on their lights and sirens if we need to shut down. But we have found that our sound crew could bring in these lights. Here's one light right here inside, and then I don't know if you can see, but one of those poles on this side has the lights. And if there is an emergency, they will blink. And then, we have the announcer help shut it down. We have the law enforcement, the EMS, shut down the heat if we need to. In the event of emergency, local first responders take control of the situation. Rollover, fires, and weather. I'm sure most of us have had rollovers and fires. You've seen I had a fire in that video. We have also had weather. So local law enforcement takes over, we step back at that point.
Question on that.
Yeah.
What's their guideline on the weather? When do they say, hey, the weather's bad, let's go? Is it
Yeah.
they count to 5 when the lightning hits, or what?
Yeah. So the chief fire makes that call, and your commissioners is what I've been told. They told me we don't make the call, they make it. So in 2011, my first year as the fair coordinator, sellout event, and this is what happened. We were in our seats about 1 hour, and this shows this windstorm. We actually had our fire marshal coming across the Levan Ridge and seen it coming and called the Derby and said evacuate. At that time, we had a small evacuation plan.
So when you evacuate, where do you put the people?
Yeah. Okay. So the announcer, I'm sitting right by him, all of a sudden says, we're evacuating. And I'm like, what? Anyway, they sent everybody to their cars for 10 minutes. And some people didn't leave. Most people left. We don't think we lost that many that actually went home. So it ended up being about 15, 20 minutes. It cleared up, thankfully. Everyone came back, and we had one of the best derbies. After this, we sat down and talked about it the week after. And a lot of people dropped their children, their youth off to an event without parents. Where did they go? We're all saying, So now we have made different things in place that so many of us have keys. We open the main buildings, and everyone can either go there, especially the youth. If you don't have a parent with you or a car or something, you go to the buildings. So we've had emergency meetings yearly, even twice a year since this, with all the events in Judd County of how we can evacuate in case of, we have railroad tracks right there by our fairgrounds too. If there was a wreck or, it'd be huge to us. So,
Hey Jamie, do you
Yeah.
have a sound system that would broadcast that emergency evacuation?
yeah, we do. And that's what happened. Yeah. But it's like, you send everybody to their cars, and then we had all these kids that nobody knew anything about. And so some of the parents had said, well, what did my child do? So that's how it was brought to our attention. So if we ever have to evacuate, we will open a building and ticket booth, wherever we get them in.
And do you have assigned seatings or general admission? Did you have any problems with
We
when
have
they came back
reserved
in?
seating assigned, so
Did you try and reticket them as they came in, or just open the gates?
we just opened the gates. And I only had probably 2 spectators come up and ask for their money back, so it wasn't huge. We did, look at that even further, and we have a lot of big older trees at our fairgrounds, and that's where a lot of the parking are. And we're like, well, was it safe to send everybody to their cars then? Whatever tree So we looked at everything now, and we decided probably the safest thing is to send them to the buildings, open up all the buildings and let them go. So yeah, we've had it all now. I'm done with it now.
I like recharging them to get back in though.
Yeah, as a promoter, you're thinking, oh, refunds, new day, what's gonna happen here? Huh? We made it though, and it ended up being a great derby after. Constant communication is the key. Radios. Does all you guys use radios? You probably do. You see, I don't have a radio on because someone's was broken and dang, I had to give mine up. But this just shows all of our committee is constant in communication around that arena with radios. This picture is kind of humbling to me. This is some of my derby guys, and the look on some of their faces, that was the opening, and we just had a hard year as a committee, you know, and you can see it in their faces a little bit. We're all just making sure we could. It was hard to get through that derby, but we made it. You can see in this picture some of my judges there too as well. And that Diet Coke in my hand, I have to have that. So in the end, our goal at Judd County is everyone have a fun, safe, and entertaining evening. We every meeting, everything, we always talk about safety. There's new ideas every time. And when you go back and look, I want to just go back to that video after we talked about a few things and let me kind of point out some things that I look at it. It's a great promotional item for me, but I look at it in a different way now. Sorry, we'll fix it. So I don't know if you can see the pit crew right here. It's kind of hard on the bigger screen, and there's my judges on that side. There's the pit crew. So you can see them. If you're out in that arena, you can see cars lined up, you can see the berm, see the sand on the arena floor to help with the fast. And it don't look like they're going that fast, but they are. We all know that. So you can see my pit crew right here. They're all there. Of course, it's the first team. You can kind of see, like he didn't get over the berm. You can kind of see where our committee judges are stationed around the arena. That's an issue to talk about too, is judges in the arena. We should probably talk about that after this. What's your feelings? See, this is that other side that we put tires and stuff so they can't. And you can see them how they couldn't get out of it. Gotta have a picture of the crowd. That's our vendor area out there. So you can kind of see the sand kind of coming up here. See the sand there. Trucks. So you can kind of see him, how he had to climb that berm. There's that pit crew again. You can see some judges. Here comes, we're maintaining the berm right here. We're County Road crew. And then, did you see the tractor? He was doing the ground before. They pile up into it, but it does, again, it does not go over. And this is where it really shows. Okay, so. See, and that's where there needs to be water down. So right at the, you see that. I put a little water on it. In between the heats, we're pretty fast to get cars out, but we do throw promotional items. This shows one of our judges. This is the final heat. He's making sure every car, seatbelt, brake check, helmet. It's right there. So here's my EMS. Look at all the other people. They shouldn't be there. That's what it is. Some things you learn. Gotta make sure they know they can do that one. And fire. Crowd goes wild, yeah. Yeah, so I look at that and I think of like the EMS had some family or spectators or whatever right there. They can't be out there. So we learn from that from looking at this. We learn from, you can see sometimes the arena floor. I mean, we've seen it there and watered it a little. But you can go back and look and think of things that, yeah, we tried, but we needed to work on that and that didn't quite happen because you're promoting the event. You don't see everything. You're 500 crazy things going on. So it's good. What about your judges? So after last year, we talked about building stands inside the arena, clear around, to have them like stand on and jump down maybe. But they didn't feel like that would be fast enough for them if the driver needed help. They chose to stay inside the arena. I don't know what you guys do. We're looking for suggestions on that. They stand back against the rail. There's 15 feet, but still, so that is one thing that we are looking at. We don't know quite how to change it. So your input would be great on that. There's an exit survey in your packet. I'd appreciate any input there. We try, but we don't know it all, and we're always wanting to learn better safety stuff.
Jamie?
Yes.
Do you have, how many pictures are you allowed per car? Is there a specific number?
Three pit crew per car. And those three get a t-shirt because, yeah, we want to know. Yeah. We have had, like in the, you hear stories about the pit crew and different things, but we've learned that just having that driver go through that inspection, that if they don't pass, you don't have the whole pit crew, oh, why not, or so stuff like that. So we keep them out, and if we don't pass, they don't pass. They get a chance to go fix it and come back. And then that, because we've had some heated conversations with drivers in the pit, wanting their car to pass. I'm sure you all have. So that eliminates that. We make them stay back with the truck and the trailer, and then they just come through. If they pass, they're fine, they're impounded, they go to the fair for the rest of the day or do whatever. We also encourage them to come early, so if there is a chance they don't pass, they have time to fix it. So, but we still have those that come at 4 o'clock, hour before the show, want to get, so yeah. Any other questions?
Jamie?
Yes.
One concern we've had, and it's what happened last year, was with the throttle sticking
Yes.
and going over the berm. Even with a berm like that, if he went the full length of that arena with the throttle stuck, he could probably still clear it. Is that, we're really toying with the concrete barrier with some dirt.
We toyed with that
Is
too.
anybody else using concrete? Are they having
I think there's
success?
one that use both.
One caution I have about concrete, I went to the Derby that Eagle Mountain had a couple of years ago, and they had concrete barriers, and the truck slammed into that barrier so hard, it broke it in half and sent concrete flying in the crowd.
Yeah, see
Now,
that's
it's a lot better than a truck going in the crowd, but
yeah, we heard that story as well, so that's why our road crew acted like this would be the best, and we went with that. Yes.
one more thing we try to do with our dirt berm is, it's really quite big like yours, and then we do a cut in front of the berm down in the arena, so the car's on a downhill motion before it hits that berm.
So
And that
yeah,
seems to
so
stop them
that
pretty good in
throttle
dirt.
sticking, we thought if that happened, we've got the tires on this end and there's tires on there and there's that concrete barrier. If it hits that way, if they're going from one end, they're going to go through that. That's why we made that other exit, just in case that happened, if it went that way. But yeah, so there's, over here, there's that whole new, and we didn't do that in the years past, so we added that. We added, it's just a little opening with tires, like where they come in, and there's a cement barrier behind it. So that's how we tried to control the throttle thing if it happened. Any other questions?
Do you
Yes.
bring in your own dirt, or do you have enough?
We bring in our own dirt, but this year Sunrock brought us 2 semi-loads with bellies full and donated after the fatality, and they just come and says, you know, we want to help you, we want to see what we can do to help you, and they donated all the sand, so we did bring in more this year. And this year, we're looking at bringing even more.
Do you keep it in your arena or do you have to haul
We
it out?
pull it out for the rodeo, it's too deep.
Yeah.
So yeah, we keep it out, and we have a hard time not having it disappear, but a lot of little sandboxes in town, but anyway.
So did you use the sand in the bottom of the arena or around the berm?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, so what they do is they push out what's there already to start the berm, and then they bring in more to finish the berm and to do the floor. And this side of our bleachers is the older side, and we're looking hopefully at replacing them for 2016. And so we're looking at building this side up so we can even go taller and bigger for the berm. Yes,
Other than the berm, what barrier do you have between your crowd and the?
that, the 15-foot, do you see?
Yeah.
But then
So
what,
is that just a chain link
There's
fence?
concrete around there too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Sits in the concrete.
Yeah, and there's concrete fence, yeah. So we haven't had anybody go over since we had, when that one car in 2010 went over, it was on this side, the grandstand side, and that was our old, so we built, there's cement under there, cement too. So, yeah, you can easily get a car, or we do that for emergency purposes. If ambulance has to get around, they have their razors and rangers and stuff too, if they have to go inside the arena, but so they can get around, or if the fire truck needs to get around to the other side, they can, there's room to go there. So, yes. Any other things you can see?
One of the big complaints we get with the dirt berm, and maybe it's not as bad there, is you get people ganging up on somebody and pushing them up in there, and then the next guy pushes him even further.
We don't allow it, they're
Okay.
disqualified.
So
Once they're
one,
on the berm, they know they're stuck, they're not getting off, leave them alone, yeah.
Okay.
And that's addressed in the driver's meeting and the rules. But we make sure we tell them in the driver's meeting too. You'll be booted out.
How do you really define that? I mean, so at some points it's obvious that the car is stuck and they're still smashing the car, but at some point it's not so obvious. Where do you try and define that of when the car is stuck? Or when you can't hit it anymore?
Yeah, as soon as they're in the berm, that's one thing our county's pretty big about, and our road crew is, once they're in the berm, just leave them, you know, they're done pretty much. If they happen to get out and come back, all right, but
Yeah.
they're done. Just don't. I mean, if they're in the berm and you've already kind of started a hit before they got stuck, of course they're not. But after they're for surely in the berm and you're coming across the arena, you know, no. So we found, you know, like those stickers are a big deal, like for promoting, like you can sell that as a promoting thing, put their logo on there and say stop. Last year we put, since, you know, Robbie wasn't from Delta, I mean, he was helping Delta, but he was from ours, so we had a thing for him on the cars, on the driver's door, memory thing, and we used that this year. But, and I think, you know, I think the drivers, I don't know what your feeling is, but I think they're feeling this too. I think they're being a little more careful. They're still putting on a show, but I think they feel it too. And they want to be safe, and I know things happen, but I think it goes there as well. Like, we didn't have any problems this year. It seemed like things went smooth. And as a committee, we kind of needed that, you know, but it was, yeah, I think they're trying as well, more than they have, you know. So, and, you know, there's usually a purse up. If they should try and not get disqualified, you know. Why are they there, you know? So anyway, yeah. Can you see anything you can point out that maybe we're constantly re-evaluating, which I'm sure all of you are, especially after the last year, but, you know, as it's hard, you know, like I really question myself if we should even continue with the derby. And I'm a rodeo girl, I'm a farm girl, I didn't grow up, you know, I don't do this stuff. They ask me a real question, it's like, oh, I don't know, you know, that's my guys. But anyway, I'm glad we do, you know, it's to see the community come together, like with your fairs, you know, I'm glad we do stuff. And the drivers, I think, are getting way more respectful. Like, they're trying. They're like, the inspectors are telling me they're building better cars. They're trying to. So, All right, is there anything else?
Just one last thing on safety and everything else. I know we've got a lot of people that said they will not come back to the Derby again, that witnessed what happened in Delaware. We've got to do whatever we can to protect people and be as safe as we can, because it's devastating when you see something like that.
Who built your berm? Is it the county as well?
The Lions Club puts it on, and they're the ones, but we do have a county road to do it, but they build it to what the Lions Club wanted them to.
You're looking at that, I'm sure, yeah.
We're going to do something completely different this year.
You know, I had a lot of our town at your Derby as well, and I have heard the same, and we heard it at Nephi as well. Even though it didn't happen in Nephi, it still affected us huge. We're a small community. It was hard on our community, you know, one of our own, and so it's a month away. We have all these parades, you know. I'm like, we usually promote. We're hitting it big time right now, you know, and it was hard. And I see your point, but you know, the ones that I really thought, like his family, were there. And you know, that's the hardest thing, is to promote your Derby right in front of his family. And his family has been excellent in saying, this is what he loved. He wanted this to continue. Please don't. But that doesn't make it any easier. It's hard. It's hard to, you know. I just had a little presentation with his grandkids, and it was hard to even bounce on the Derby, you know. But I think they still came. I don't know. I mean, it happened at your arena. That's going to be different. But I don't know how. Do you guys know how you fix? I think you just have to try and do the best, more safety, you know, that you can, and hope they feel safe, and hope the drivers feel safe. Another thing that happened with Robbie is the driver was tested for drugs and alcohol. And so we do say that in our meetings, that if there is an accident, you will be tested. So I mean, that's something to maybe, you know, but yeah. I don't know how to answer that. I've heard people in my community say how hard, but I also have drivers that have signed up for my Derby and said they're going to yours too. So I think, you know.
I think it's a learning curve for everybody, and so we just got to move forward and make some drastic changes where we can.
You know, yeah. So what about Davis County? How have you had that, or I mean, are you hearing stuff like that?
You know, actually, I've heard it a little bit. One of our auditors said he'll never go back to Derby's
Really?
to watch it. But people like it. It gets in your blood.
It does.
You know? The promoter that did our Derby last year, we don't produce our own. We hire a promoter for ours. He's informed me that the family of Bren, who died at our Derby, wants our promoter, to do the Derby again in Bren's honor.
Oh,
It's
really?
just, it's like they grow up in it.
That's what they do.
It's just like if you got bucked off a horse, or
Yes.
and something tragic in your family happened on a horse, you'd probably still ride a horse.
Yeah. You know, and lots of stuff happens at rodeos too. You know, I mean, we all know in any event there's huge risks. We've learned here. He scares you to death, huh? There's huge risks. So, all right. Anything else?